Imagine a single piece of furniture. But it's not just for storage. It's like a universe in miniature, a stage for intellectual games, even a profound philosophical statement. Today, we're doing a deep dive into something really extraordinary, the fascinating world of European cabinets, mostly from the 16th to the 19th centuries. And these weren't just, regular cabinets.
Not at all. Much more than furniture.
Exactly. Our insights today, they come from looking closely at excerpts from a transcript from the State Hermitage Museum's YouTube channel. Really incredible details in there. And our mission, really, is to uncover how these cabinets were so much more than household items. They were intricate reflections of an entire era's worldview, its knowledge, its artistic ambition. Get ready for some serious aha moments, I think.
Okay, let's unpack this then. The word cabinet itself. What was the initial idea? What were its early forms? Well, it's interesting because the term kind of had this dual meaning almost from the start. So on one hand, you have the furniture. That seems to trace back to late Gothic Spain. These are practical things, often portable writing desks, places to keep valuables, papers, safe and sound.
Right, like a lockbox almost, but fancier.
Sort of, yeah. And they came in different forms, small cupboards, maybe with doors, or fold-down desks hiding lots of drawers. Sizes varied hugely, too, from big freestanding pieces on stands right down to tiny miniature versions.
Okay, so that's the furniture side. But you said dual meaning.
Right, because by the 15th, 16th centuries, cabinet also meant a room, a small private room, usually in the palaces of rulers or, the very wealthy. And these rooms were specifically set aside for intellectual stuff, literature, science, art, thinking rooms, essentially.
Ah, a personal sanctuary.
Yeah.
Like the studiolo in Italy comes to mind.
Yeah.
That sounds like the ultimate private retreat for deep thought, getting away from it all.
Exactly. The studiolo is a perfect example. They were among the first interiors like this, designed with a really carefully thought-out program, filled with books, manuscripts, precious artworks, natural curiosities, dikokashas, they might call them, all intended for, deep, solitary reflection.
That's quite a journey already.
Yeah.
From a practical box to a thinking room. But it didn't stop there, did it? How did this idea evolve outside Italy? Did it get even grander?
Oh, absolutely. As collecting became more of a thing, especially in countries north of the Alps, we see the Kunstkammer emerge, the cabinet of curiosities. And these were, they were much more than just storage. They were conceptual spaces. The whole point was the ordered arrangement of objects, which was meant to embody this profound idea, the diversity and unity of the universe.
Oh, wow. Okay. Diversity and unity of the universe. That's big.
It really was. The Kunstkammer was seen as a model of the universe in miniature. The things inside, bizarre natural items, amazing art, scientific instruments, complex machines, everything was chosen to show how interconnected the world was, how all these different phenomena reflected some kind of underlying harmony.
So what does this all mean then? It's not just about having rare stuff. It's a way of understanding the world itself.
Precisely. And humanity was placed right at the center of this understanding. Center of the microcosm, center of the macrocosm. These Kunstkammer collections, they preserved knowledge, they were used for scientific study, and honestly, they had this aura about them.
An aura, like mystical.
A bit, yeah. Like old temple treasuries or cathedrals, a sense of mystery. Remember Francis Bacon, the English philosopher? In 1594, he wrote, "In a small compass, one can see a model of the universal." That really captures it.
Okay, that's the room, the Kunstkammer. So how did the actual furniture cabinets, the objects themselves, get tied up in all this philosophy and science? Did they become mini-universes too?
They absolutely did, especially as we move into the Mannerist and Baroque periods, say 16th, 17th centuries. Furniture cabinets increasingly became the places to keep these rare, precious items, so they functioned as miniature Kunstkammers.
Oh.
But they were also standalone works of art in their own right. In Germany, they often called them art cabinets. Their decoration, the things stored inside, it all carried symbolic weight, meant to make the owner think about, the creator's world, its diversity, its mysteries.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Think about the Augsburg Kunstkammer cabinets from the early 17th century. Really famous ones. They tried to basically encompass the whole universe, almost encyclopedically. Conceived by Philipp Hainhofer. He was a patrician, banker, art dealer in Augsburg.
Right, Hainhofer. These sound incredible. Embodying the theatrum mundi, the world as a stage. That's the concept, isn't it?
Exactly.
Holding hundreds of items sometimes, even hidden musical mechanisms. It sounds like a totally immersive experience.
Multisensory. It really was. The whole idea of contemplating them slowly, maybe with music playing from inside the cabinet itself, it was designed to inspire thoughts about world harmony. a holistic kind of engagement.
And you mentioned games, too. Some had elaborate gaming sets,
Mm.
like the one in the Hermitage collection. Even Leisure had a point.
It certainly seems so. The Hermitage has this amazing gaming set decorated with ebony, silver, ivory, mother of pearl, lots of engravings. Beautiful thing. It had 6 different game boards, could be used for maybe 10 games. Chess, trick, track, mill, popular ones.
Yes, okay.
And 2 fields were just for chess. What's really interesting is how chess itself was viewed. The pieces, the moves, they were seen as modeling a kingdom, its hierarchy, court life, social structure.
Oh, I never thought of it that way.
Well, back in the Middle Ages, it was linked to knights, but also sometimes seen as, sinful idleness.
Hmm.
But later, it took on deeper meanings, symbolizing struggles. Worldly versus spiritual, life versus death, sin versus virtue, even just the ups and downs of fortune.
So even the checkerboards weren't just for fun. It feels like everything in these cabinets was meant to make you think.
That seems to be the case. On some checkerboards, the white squares might have little scenes from fables or proverbs painted on them.
Really?
Yes, to encourage useful reflection while you played. They weren't just entertainment, they were intellectual tools, moral tools, part of the whole package.
So beyond the games, what other philosophical ideas did they get across through the decoration? Sounds like they were canvases for abstract thought.
Definitely. Even the cabinets that weren't trying to be full encyclopedias still reflected the era's interests: philosophy, science, aesthetics. That core idea, reflecting the greater and the smaller, you see it in cabinets decorated with illusory architectural landscapes.
Like paintings of buildings.
Exactly, sometimes real ones in miniature, but often fantasies. Architectural daydreams, almost. Placed next to perfect geometric shapes like spheres or cylinders. These pieces, often made with intarsia, that wood inlay technique, especially in Augsburg and South Germany in the 15th and 16th centuries, they show how passionate these German masters were about perspective theory, thanks to the Renaissance influence.
And what about the vanitas theme? The idea that earthly life is fleeting? How do you show that in a beautiful, lasting object? Seems contradictory.
It does, but they managed it, sometimes explicitly. For example, if the architectural scenes showed buildings crumbling, ruined by time.
Ah, okay.
Contemplating that would naturally lead you to think about fragility, about how things don't last, or sometimes through symbolism. There's a cabinet described that shows a frog surrounded by a snake, snail, turtle, a marine shell. In European tradition, these creatures, sort of the lower world animals, often embodied sin, vice, decay. Classic vanitas symbols.
Okay, that makes sense.
But, and this is fascinating, there's often a twist. The frog, and the turtle too, were sometimes shown holding the world on their backs.
Really?
Yes, so they could also symbolize constancy, the unchanging cosmic order. Even the sort of demonic frog figure was sometimes linked to creation, resurrection.
So dual meanings everywhere.
Exactly, and the fact that these creatures appear at all reflects the era's growing scientific interest in nature, even its weirder side, like monstrous creatures. You had workshops, like Andrea Riccio's in Padua in the 17th century, making super realistic little figures of snails, turtles, lizards, frogs. And Bernard Palissy, the French potter, famously decorated his ceramics with casts of real reptiles and amphibians, so it tied into scientific curiosity too.
These sound less like furniture and more like puzzle boxes full of secrets. How did the makers create that sense of mystery, that feeling of something hidden?
Contrast was a big part of it. Deliberate contrast, meant to evoke what's been called ecstatic surprise.
Ecstatic surprise. I like
Oh.
that.
Yeah. Imagine the outside is maybe dark, restrained. Then you open it and bam, the inside is vibrant, maybe deep, dark velvet next to gleaming metal medallions. Or restrained wood outside, but inside, warm colors, lush ornaments, maybe bright engraved metal plates on the drawers. Scenes, like the labors of Heracles, could add real emotional punch to that inner world.
And hidden compartments. You mentioned those.
Oh, yes. Mystery could come from iconography only intellectuals would get. Or literally hidden niches, secret drawers, reliable ways to guard secrets, adding allure. Sometimes the mystery was just in the complex construction. Secret buttons, tricky drawers. There's one Italian cabinet described as a complete enigma when closed. Plain panels, no obvious doors. You had to be clever just to figure out how to open it.
So interacting with one was almost like being drawn into a performance, a little play unfolding.
Absolutely, especially during the Mannerist and Baroque periods. Deciphering allegories, symbols, that was a favorite game in aristocratic circles. Knowing these emblems created this atmosphere of intellectual play. So using the cabinet, looking at its contents, it immersed the owner in this sophisticated game, aimed at understanding the world, self-knowledge, and just aesthetic pleasure, too.
Like Baroque theater.
Very much so. Baroque art cabinets really embodied the spirit of the age, just like court theater did. Cabinet makers deliberately used theatrical effects, sudden changes of scene when you opened it, spectacle, paradox, metaphor, strong contrasts in scale, color, texture. The goal was similar too, trying to grasp world knowledge, master the inexplicable. That applied to Kunstkammers, art cabinets, and theater. And the owner, by figuring out the secrets, opening the hidden parts, became part of this unique stage performance. Sometimes, as we said, even with music.
That is just incredible. And the artistry involved, the technical skill must have been off the chart.
Oh, completely. Take the Milanese steel cabinets from the 16th century. Milan was the top place for luxury armor, right?
Right, the best armor.
So by mid-century, these same master armorers started making these amazing cabinets, using the skills they already had, casting, forging, gilding, and especially damascening, that intricate technique of inlaying gold or silver wire onto steel to make patterns.
Wow, using armor techniques on
Yeah.
furniture.
Exactly. And the little sculptures on them, maybe steel, bronze, or silver, they'd show allegories of virtues, Roman history, myths. One cabinet is described as like a little palace, mixing themes of military valor with civic virtue and this idea of world order. They were super rare, though, only made for about 30 years. And this links back to the Kunstkammer idea, too, the emphasis on miniaturization.
Miniaturization.
Yes, both making tiny objects and developing micro techniques, showing off the absolute highest level of craft. Tiny objects gave new perspectives, but the micro techniques were pure demonstrations of skill.
Did you give an example of micro technique? It sounds painstaking.
Definitely. There's a technique, now lost unfortunately, seen in a games box from Eger in Bohemia. Eger was this unique center for it in the 1620s, 30s. The decoration used low-relief wood and tarsia, but the elements were tiny, minuscule sometimes, made from different woods, just a few millimeters high.
Millimeters.
Yes, giving them real volume, amazing light and shadow effects. A checkerboard made this way could look like a real fruit and flower garden, so detailed, like a botanical illustration, no two images repeated.
Incredible. And probably not meant for playing on much.
Likely not. More for display in a Kunstkammer or a cabinet. These micro techniques, natural rarities, tiny valuables, they were essential for curiosity collections. They visually showed that Kunstkammer concept of world unity, the link between the big and the small parts of the great theater of the world. You even had miniature cabinets, palm-sized ones, and they definitely held rarities. It's amazing, but the tiny drawers of one 17th century Tyrolean cabinet, they look too small for anything.
Yeah.
They were known to hold gold dust and precious gems.
Wow. It's incredible to think how much intellectual weight these objects carried. Things we might just see as, well, furniture now. But obviously things changed. Their purpose shifted over time.
It did, inevitably. By the 18th century, collecting started to lose some of that deep, esoteric meaning. It became more about showing status or enlightenment or just wealth.
Right, more outward display.
Yeah, the mysticism, the sort of naive beliefs of earlier times, they gave way to a more, let's say, scientific approach, and also just enjoying sensory pleasure for its own sake. For the owners, the deep philosophical program maybe became less important than just how beautiful the decoration was. They started to become more like expensive toys, you could say, elegant little things that amused the sophisticated 18th century.
And by the 19th century.
By then, furniture cabinets had pretty much lost that original significance. But the image of the mysterious sacred space of the Kunstkammer and the Baroque cabinet that lived on in cultural memory, it still inspired people, sometimes evoking nostalgia, maybe sometimes in a more parodic or even grotesque way, looking back at this enigmatic art.
And just thinking about making them. The skill involved was immense, right? It wasn't just one person usually.
Oh, absolutely not. Creating something like a Baroque cabinet was often beyond what a single furniture maker could do. In fact, building one was sometimes the main task needed to qualify as a master craftsman.
A master workpiece.
Exactly. And cabinet makers had to work with so many other specialists: draftsmen, painters, mechanics, clockmakers, jewelers, experts in different decorative techniques, engravers whose prints were used as models for the decoration. A whole team. And of course, time takes its toll. Use, conditions. They've left their mark on these rare pieces. Each one has its own story, its own issues.
So restoration must be incredibly complex.
It is. In places like the Hermitage Labs, restorers from different fields work together. They try to bring them back to their original look where possible. They study these forgotten techniques, uncover the secrets of how they were made, and they use modern science, modern tech, but always trying to preserve the authenticity. But fundamentally, like in the past, it demands the absolute highest level of skill honed by experience, meticulous, painstaking, delicate work. That hasn't changed.
We've really journeyed through time today, exploring how, well, a piece of furniture could be so much more. A philosophical statement, a universe in miniature, a stage for games, a testament to human craft and curiosity. These cabinets, they were truly windows into the minds of the people who made them and owned them, reflecting a whole worldview. So here's a final thought for you listening right now. Think about the objects you keep. Maybe things tucked away in your own home, your office. Do they maybe in their own way tell a story about your worldview, your curiosities, your sense of the grand scheme of things, just like these amazing cabinets did for their owners centuries ago? What miniature universe have you curated, maybe without even realizing it?